How much do you appreciate your human body? We have to live in this thing, this body that we were given. We can't trade it in, we can't sell it. We could probably do some maintenance on it, but we're going to live in this thing for the rest of our lives. And what do we need to do to make sure that, yes, it stays healthy, it stays fit, and it stays strong for the rest of its life? But what if it gets attacked? What if it gets attacked by a worldwide pandemic medical challenge? What if it gets attacked by a germ, a bug, a virus? What do we do if our human body is attacked and our health and our fitness and our strength, which is this thing that's going to get us around for the rest of our lives, do we have an army that can fight germs, bugs, viruses and diseases? And what do we do if somebody tells us you are going to get sick, or you are sick, or there's a chance in the future that you could get sick? You need to take this medical intervention, or you need to take these pills, or you need to have this pharmaceutical program because you're either you've been sick and you could get sick again, or you are sick at the moment, or there's a chance in the future that you could get sick. And for me, that's a really important question. I don't know about you, but I love my body. I love being able to get up and do stuff, and I love that I can take my human body to climb mountains and swim in the ocean and do amazing things. And I want to make sure that my body stays healthy, fit and strong for the rest of my life. How about you? Which is why, of course, I'm an exercise professional. It's why I want to educate people to be exercise professionals. And most importantly, I'm really concerned about our kids, because I really want our kids to grow up in a world where being healthy, being fit, being strong and loving life, because you've got the energy and vitality to love life, is available to them. So there's two parts there. There's one is the stuff that we have control over, which is our own human body. How do we keep it healthy, fit and strong? And then there's the stuff that the world will throw at us. So there will be bugs, germs, viruses, there'll be diseases that affect thousands, if not millions, if not billions of people. And what can we do to virus-proof, disease-proof, germ-proof our body to make sure that we don't get sick? And then if somebody tells us that we have been sick, we are sick, or we're going to get sick in the future, what kind of questions should we be asking? And for me, all of that's really important. And I'll share with you very personally one of the main reasons. If you look at the scary diseases in the world, the ones that, if we look at our biggest killers, yes, there's coronary heart disease. It's always been, since I've been aware of disease, coronary heart disease, anything to do with the heart, has been the number one killer in the world. Interestingly, the cardiovascular people, the type 2 diabetes people, they are now having arguments with the heart people about what kills more people. Is it heart attacks or heart disease, or is it cardiovascular disease? Is it type 2 diabetes? Now, that's not an argument that I want to get into. My question is, how can I foolproof, how can I bulletproof my body, there's a better word, so that I don't get coronary heart disease and I don't get type 2 diabetes, which are the two biggest killers in the world. There's then a third one, which is really horrible, which is, of course, cancer. Now, the interesting thing with that C word is all the medical experts that I have anything to do with, and as an exercise professional, as a person who researches the human body every single day, I'm very privileged to have some very good friends who are cardiologists, endocrinologists, the people that study the hormonal system. I have very good friends who are neuroscientists who study the brain and how the brain-body connection works. And of course, I have a husband that's an exercise physiologist and a health scientist, a published research scientist. So I am constantly surrounded by people who are studying how the human body works and how we can bulletproof our human body against those big killer diseases. Now, the interesting one, the cancer one, the oncologists, they all share with me very openly that around about 80% of all cancers are now preventable because we give them to ourselves via lifestyle. So we either drink too much, we smoke too much, we are inactive, we don't look after ourselves physically, and our body is, it gets broken down, it gets worn away. Our immune system doesn't work properly, so our ability to fight that big one, which is cancer, becomes very, very limited. So I cannot imagine what it would be like for somebody to say to me, Rowie, you've got cancer. I don't even want to imagine what that would be like. And if you've been through that, or you have loved ones that have been through that process, my heart goes out to you. I will share again openly that I have had lots of people in my life that have been given that diagnosis, which is why the study of the human body and the study of diseases has become so important to me. I've had too many people in my life that have been told you're going to die of cancer, or you have a terminal illness and you're going to die. And interestingly, the medical professional that told them that has actually given them a time frame. So you've got 6 weeks to live, or 6 months to live, or you might have a year or 2 years. And of course, having managed health clubs all over the world, having been an exercise professional all of my life, having been involved with health and fitness and strength and keeping the body healthy, fit and strong, I've literally had contact with thousands of people. Now, as a health club manager, for example, when somebody gets diagnosed with a terminal illness, or if they've been diagnosed with cancer, they would often end up in my office, sharing with me this horrible thing that's happened to them, this horrible news. And the reason why I would like to share this with you so openly, and why I'm asking you, please, whatever disease you've been told you have or you could have in the future, or because of your past you're definitely going to get it, is it possible that it could be a really good idea to get a second opinion? And the reason I share that is so many of the people that have told me very personally, Rowie, I'm going to die in 6 months, or I've got 6 weeks to live, or I'm going to die in the next few years with this terminal illness. Not only didn't die, but they're still living, and they're living with passion and strength, and they've got a powerful attitude about loving their life. And I think maybe that's a great place to start. We're all going to die. All of us. Life is a terminal illness. When we were born, there's the only one thing we could probably be really sure of, is that sometime in the future we're going to die. My question is always, how are we going to live? And if we've only got a limited time, which we all have, and at the most now, at the moment, it's about 120, 125 years maybe, I've got a very strong, powerful headspace that says, because we now know so much more about being healthy, fit and strong, and having a positive attitude and the connection between the brain and body, that we may be able to live longer than that. But I use those numbers as an example. We have the possibility to live at the moment till about 125 years of age. Most people don't want to live that long because they think that last part of their life is going to be awful. Well, I'm absolutely committed to my life being fantastic, healthy, fit, strong, energetic, vital every single day. How about you? And I plan on living like that for the rest of my life. So how do we do that? And how do we make sure that, again, we bulletproof our body, so that if somebody says you've got a genetic challenge in your family, so it's likely that you're going to die early, or you've got this thing going on at the moment that you've contracted, which means you could die in the near future, or if you don't take this medical intervention, or you don't do this particular thing, you could die in the future. And interestingly, we're all going to die in the future, but I often use this example with my mother. She was over 80 years of age when she had this interaction with a sports physician. And the sports physician, there's a good word, said to my mother, if you are healthy, fit and strong, if you exercise, if you keep your bones strong, your muscles strong, your heart and lungs strong, if you exercise, there's about a 50% chance that sometime in your exercise career, sometime in your exercising process for the rest of your life, you'll have an injury. You might drop a weight on your toe, you might strain a muscle, you might sprain an ankle, you might get bitten by a jellyfish in the ocean if you go swimming. There's a chance that you'll get an injury from your exercise program. But he shared very happily with my 80-year-old mother at the time that if you don't exercise, there's a 100% chance that you'll have decreased quality of life, 100% chance that you could get a slower metabolism, so you'll put a heap of weight on. There's a 100% chance that you'll attract the inactivity diseases like coronary heart disease, type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, depression, Alzheimer's, dementia, cardiovascular disease, cancer. They're all common and worldwide. Interesting. You've heard that a lot lately, haven't you? Worldwide pandemics, meaning epidemics out of control. So heart disease, cardiovascular disease, osteoporosis, depression, obesity. They're all worldwide pandemics. They're out of control. Nobody really knows how to control them. At the moment, all the medical professionals are doing is talking about how can we stop them from exploding. But massive numbers of people are dying from those big killer diseases. Now that all sounds very horrible, I know. But what I take from that beautiful discussion that my mother had with the sports physician is that if you exercise, if you are fit and strong, if you keep your muscles strong, your bones strong, your heart and lungs strong, your endocrine hormonal system strong, your central nervous system strong, your digestive system, and most importantly, your immune system, is it possible then that you could have great quality of life for a very long time? And according to the top medical professionals, that is the truth. We have every chance to live a really long time with great quality of life. And as I always share, I've been studying longevity now for a very long time. Had the privilege of going to Sardinia in Italy, which is one of those blue zones where the oldest people in the world live. And I had the pleasure of meeting people that were over 100 years of age that were still working full time, they were still playing their sport, they were still going to restaurants and dancing, they were still making love to their partner, they had top quality of life after the age of 100. Now, I find that really exciting. How about you? So, what do we need to do to make that happen? And of course, we've got to get fit, really, really fit. We've got to get strong as we can possibly be. We've got to be mentally tough, and those two go together, of course, because every time you get puffed and you keep going until you think you can't do any more and you go a little bit further, you change your brain. You have neuroplasticity in your brain. If you think you can't do something and then you go and do it, you've changed the way your brain thinks. So the more often you get puffed and pushed past the point where you think you can't go any further, even if it's only 1 second or 5 meters or just a little bit further, you get stronger mentally. Every time you think you can't lift something, and that for me is where strength training becomes one of the most exciting things I do in my life. When I think I can't lift one more, I'm lifting as heavy as I possibly can. I've done as many as I possibly think I can do. And then I do half a one more or one more of that particular exercise. What happens now is my brain says, oh my God, Rowie, you didn't think you could do it. Now you can. So I'm building up my physical strength, my muscular strength, my skeletal strength, because obviously muscles pull on bones, but most importantly, I'm building up my mental strength so that I have the brain power to fight any germ, bug, virus or disease that comes into my life. So you have to be mentally tough to do that. But also when my muscles pull on my bones, my immune system is built inside my bones, so is yours. Isn't that awesome? That means that I have now an immune system that can fight a worldwide pandemic medical challenge. And that's one of the interesting things, that if somebody tells you you're going to die or you're going to get sick or there's a risk for you to contract this germ, bug or virus, I feel like I'm bulletproofed. I feel really excited because I know that my immune system's really strong, my bones are really strong, my muscles are really strong, my heart and lungs are really strong, my hormonal system's strong, my central nervous system's strong, and most importantly, my brain is really strong. So here's a great question. Do you want to be physically and mentally tough and strong? And if the answer to that is yes, then the solution, the program is get really fit, get really strong. And both of those are really simple to do. Get puff, lift heavy, and you'll be fit and strong. That's easy. But my next question is this. We live in a world where we are bombarded daily, us and our kids, and this is the really important thing for me. As an adult, we get to make a decision about what we believe and what we don't believe, but a lot of our kids don't have that ability yet. Their brain hasn't worked out, if an adult tells me something, it must be true. So I'm really aware of what information is being delivered to our children. And if we say to I'll use an adult example first. If I say to you, you're going to die of a terminal illness, you've got cancer and you've got 6 months to live. If I believe that, is it more likely that I will die in 6 months? And I know that's a really tough question, but please consider it really carefully. If I believe that I'm going to die in 6 months, am I more likely to die in 6 months? I'll use a simple example. How many people do you hear, I always get the flu in winter, or always get a cold and a runny nose when I go out in the rain? Well, every time I go out in the rain, I believe that when I get wet, I'm going to get sick. Is it possible that there's a brain-body connection there that I will get sick? Now, I'm not saying that you have to believe that, but I'm just asking, is it possible? So the next question is, if I believe a medical professional tells me something and I believe them, is it possible that that will affect me psychologically and physiologically? Versus the many hundreds of people that I've had in my life where they've been told you've got a terminal illness and they've said, well, let's get a second opinion. Let's get a third opinion. Let's ask somebody else. And it might be another oncologist, it might be another cardiologist, it might be another orthopedic surgeon. But let's ask some different people. Let's get a second, third, fourth, fifth opinion. The next thing, and this is I'm giving this now, what I'm about to share with you is directly from the top medical specialists. When humans go to a medical specialist, they usually are a bit in awe. Oh, this is a specialist doctor. They're amazing. They must have all the information. And those medical specialists often or always share with me, I won't say often, they've always shared with me that they can't believe how few questions people ask when they are given a diagnosis. So you go to the oncologist and you're told you've got cancer. You go to the orthopedic surgeon, they tell you you've got osteoporosis. You go to the endocrinologist and they tell you that you've got type 2 diabetes. And what happens now? Do we just listen to what the doctor says and don't ask any questions? And the doctors are telling me that humans don't ask questions. So I'm going to give you a series of great questions to ask any medical professional, and right down to whether it's a chiropractor, a physiotherapist, an osteopath, an exercise professional, even your personal trainer or your gym instructor. Whatever they tell you, there's a series of questions to ask which may give you more information. And if they can't give you more information based on these questions, could it be a good idea to get a different opinion or a second opinion or a 50th opinion? So the two big ones are why and how. Why did I get this? How did I get it? Why will this affect me? How will this affect me? Anytime somebody says something to you, instead of just believing them, why not say why? Why did that happen? And how? How did it happen? And how will it affect my life? So they're the easy ones to remember. Just 2 3-letter words. So 2 words, 3 letters, how and why. But here's the series of questions that medical professionals have shared with me they would love their patients to ask. So number one is, and you've probably heard these questions before because it's exactly the same order. I call them the W questions, the ultimate communication tool, which is, all right, you've told me what I've got. You've told me that I've got cancer, or I've got coronary heart disease, or I've got osteoporosis, or you've diagnosed me as being depressed, or you've diagnosed me as having ADD, or you've diagnosed me with having some kind of mental illness or physical illness. So what is it exactly? Explain to me what that disease is. What is it? Next question, why did I get it? Why does the human body break down to the point that it gets that disease? So please explain to me in simple, easy to understand terms, what is the disease that you've told me? So we say, okay, you've got cancer, but what exactly is that? How does the body get to the point where its immune system is so broken down that it gets cancer? And what is cancer? Why did I get it? And interestingly, and I'll use the cancer example, is that if medical professionals are telling me that 80% of cancers are caused by lifestyle, 80%, that's 8 out of 10 cancers are caused by smoking, drinking, taking drugs, inactivity, having a poor lifestyle. The big one is stress. When your body's under stress, it breaks down. So if I've been diagnosed with that horrible disease, why did I get it? Do you smoke? Do you drink? Are you inactive? How is your weight? Are you really stressed? And all of those things, we can change them. You can stop drinking, you can stop smoking, you can stop taking drugs, you can start exercising, you can get really fit and really strong. And if you are really fit and really strong and you exercise on a regular basis, is it possible that you'll be less likely to be stressed? Woohoo! So what is this disease? Why did I get it? Where exactly in my body is it going to affect me? Please explain to me in simple terms where. So is it to do with my brain? Is it to do with my hormones, endocrine system? Is it to do with my heart, cardiovascular system? Is it to do with my immune system inside my bones? Where exactly in my body is this going to affect me, or is it affecting me at the moment? And then a great question, what can I do about that? So, okay, you've told me this is what's going on, but what exactly can I do about that? The when question, so what is it? Why did I get it? Where is it? When? When? So when did I get it? When will it affect me? When in the future can I expect to get rid of it? And there's one of my favourite questions to ask a medical professional. What's the average time it takes for somebody to recover from this particular challenge? Or what's the average time that people have to live when they've got this terminal illness? And average, of course, means somewhere between here and here. So what if we, and this is my question that I always ask medical professionals, if I was in the Guinness Book of World Records for the fastest recovering person from this particular challenge, injury, disease, virus, bug, whatever it is, or if I was in the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest living person after they'd been diagnosed with the terminal illness, how long would that be? Because that's me. I'm going to be the fastest recovering. I'm going to be the fittest, the strongest, the healthiest. I'm going to either get rid of this thing, or if you've told me that I'm going to die, I'm going to be the longest living person that's ever been told they're going to die with the terminal illness. And interestingly, watch the doctor's face. Watch what happens to the medical professionals, their posture, their interest in you. Because most people, when they're given a diagnosis, is it possible that they're just going to a downward spiral? I'm going to die. I'm really sick. And the reason I share that with you is I also have some very good friends who are pharmacists, they're chemists. And often when people go to have their prescription filled after they've been diagnosed with cancer or osteoporosis or type 2 diabetes or coronary heart disease or any of those things, there's usually a prescription that also includes an antidepressant, because when you've been told you've got a horrible disease, most people get really depressed. Well, again, interestingly, if I bulletproof my body first, so I get as fit and strong as I can possibly be, even if I get diagnosed with the horrible disease and I use cancer again, the top cancer oncologists, doctors in the world are sharing with us that exercise is medicine and medicine is exercise. If you are really fit and strong and you are hit with a disease, you'll either not get it, you'll get it, but you'll only have it for a short period of time. Whatever medication you have to take, and with cancer, for example, that's going to be a chemotherapy program. If you choose to have chemotherapy, you can actually have more chemo more often, and you'll get rid of the disease more quickly, and it's less likely to come back because your body's fit and strong. Now, I'm not using, when I say fit and strong, Rowie, fitness and strength. When you have every system in your body really fit and every system in your body really strong, is it possible that you are more bulletproofed against those horrible diseases? So you either won't get them, if you've got them, you'll be able to handle them better, and if you get rid of them, they're less likely to come back. And that, of course, is exactly what happens with cancer, for example. If you're really fit and strong, you're less likely to get it. Even if you get it, you'll be able to have more chemotherapy at higher doses and more often. You'll get rid of it quicker, and it's less likely to come back. Now, I find that really exciting. That's just a simple intervention that costs no money. It's not pharmaceutical. I've just got to get puffed and I've got to lift heavy. I'll be fit and I'll be strong, and then I'll have a body that's bulletproofed, foolproofed, I like it, against big killer diseases. So what is this thing that I've got? Why did I get it? Where is it in my body? What's the time frames involved here? And I want to be the fastest recovering or the longest living after I've been diagnosed with a terminal illness. Then how about we ask the medical professional some numbers? And at my house, this is what's really exciting. Doesn't matter whether it's a germ, a bug, a virus, or a disease. I have a husband as a health scientist who's not interested in the opinion of the researcher, not interested in why the research study was done, not interested in why the research study was funded, because a lot of them are funded for reasons I don't even want to get into. That's all too political, and unfortunately there's a lot of conspiracy theories behind all of that. I just have a husband that looks at the numbers. So this is how many people were in this particular study, and we hear it every day, don't we? Research shows that this many people get coronary heart disease, or this many people get depressed, or this many people have got a virus, or this many people are going to get this disease. And we hear that all the time, and we hear that research shows, or study the science, or science shows. Well, here's a great question. What science? Please produce the science for me. We're hearing this all the time, whether it's about nutrition or exercise or diseases or viruses, or it doesn't matter. People quote the science. Research shows, studies show. Well, if you're going to give me that information, if you share with me that what you've told me is based on science, or it's based on a research study, or it's based on what the scientists believe or what the research shows, well, let's have a look at the research. So which research, who did it, how many studies are there, and then if I give you the example of our house, when those research studies arrive, if they ever do, and that's really interesting because when you actually ask people for the research study, I want to look at the study that you're quoting. I want to look at the meta-studies that you're quoting. I want to have a look at the literature reviews, which is all the studies ever done on that particular topic. I want to look at those for myself. I have a husband who doesn't look at anything else except the numbers. So how many people, how many got it, how many didn't, what was the percentage, and really in detail the overall picture based on the numbers, not on opinions, not on people's preaching and teaching and telling, but the actual numbers. And for me, I find that really exciting because when you dig deep into the numbers, and I could pick any disease, but the big killer diseases in the world, coronary heart disease, type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, depression, obesity, when you dig into those numbers as to what are they and why did we get them and where in the body do they affect me and how can I get rid of them really quickly, in what time frame, those things it's almost exciting because you can get those diseases and get rid of them really quickly. So I use something like type 2 diabetes. Remember I shared the cardiologists and the endocrinologists are arguing who kills more people. Is it coronary heart disease or is it type 2 diabetes? Well, interestingly, both of those diseases are preventable and curable. And something like type 2 diabetes, which is very little argument now, if you get fit, if you get strong, if you lose weight, because most people that become overweight end up with type 2 diabetes. If you eat healthy food and if you do some regular exercise where you get really fit, so you get puffed, you lift heavy so you get strong, so your body's uptaking that blood sugar levels, and they're the causes of type 2 diabetes. You've got those big glucose molecules running around in your bloodstream, which is causing damage to your arteries, damage to your hoses. That damage collects cholesterol, which then stops blood flow, nutrient supply, and oxygen supply to the places that are really important. So I use type 2 diabetes, for example. You'll have limited blood flow to your eyes, so you go blind. You have limited blood flow to your extremities, so you end up having to have toes and fingers amputated. Most importantly, that's my phone ringing. I'm not going to stop now because I don't know where my phone's on, but I want to share with you so excitingly that if you get type 2 diabetes, for example, you can get rid of it in 6 to 8 weeks with a healthy eating plan and a regular exercise plan where you're actually using those blood sugar levels, getting rid of those glucose levels. That's not just preventable if you're healthy, fit and strong, but curable if you've got it. I use my mother, for example. She got osteoporosis, diagnosed at 74 years of age, advanced osteoporosis, a debilitating bone thinning disease that really affects quality of life, predominantly of older women. Well, my mother started boxing. She started running up and down stairs. She started lifting really heavy weights and got rid of her osteoporosis. When she got her next bone mineral density test done, the orthopedic surgeon said to my mother, we'll have to run the test again because the first one must have been wrong. You had advanced osteoporosis and now you've got slight osteopenia, which most young women have if they've been on a diet. How did you get rid of your osteoporosis? Not only could you prevent osteoporosis by being really fit and strong, but you can get rid of it by being a strong woman, by being a strong person. So I get really excited about all of this, and most importantly, I'm sick and tired, and I share this with you openly and passionately, of people getting a diagnosis, being told you're going to get sick, you're going to get this disease, this is going to happen to you, and people just accept it. And I'll ask the question again, is it possible that if you are told that you're sick and you believe that you're sick, is it possible that you will be sick even if you're not? Or you'll get sicker even if you are, because you buy into this, I've got to be sick. I cannot tell you how many times people have been told, in my life, being told, you're going to die, and they're still walking around. And the reverse of that, people have been told they're going to die, but they live much longer, much, much longer than expected, and with great quality of life, because they've decided, if I'm only going to live for 6 weeks or 6 months, I'm going to live every day, I'm going to live with passion, I'm going to go and do all the things I want to do, I'm going to have a fit, strong body that's going to allow me to do it. I don't want to be sick, I don't want to be full of drugs, I don't want to be full of antidepressants that fog up my brain. I want to go and live my life and love it. And I think all of us as humans deserve two things. Number one is we deserve to be healthy, fit and strong, and we need to do that for ourselves. And then if the world hits us with a pandemic or a virus or a disease that we have no control over, well then let's make sure that our body is bulletproofed and foolproofed and we can actually handle it. And if some medical person tells you or some research study tells you that this is what's going on, have a look at the numbers. We are bombarded by the media, by the government, and those two people aren't medical professionals, so I don't know why we believe them anyway. The media says and the government says. How about what does the science actually say if somebody says follow the science, and have a look at the science for yourself. And even if the science says you're going to die, what if you decide that you're not going to? And I always share this very, very personal story, and it's a story I'm really excited about. I was going through the Melbourne airport in Australia, and we were waiting in the line to go through customs. And there was a guy in front of me, and he had really nice shoes. And I love great shoes. And I took note, and I always compliment people on great shoes. I said, "Sir, you've got great shoes. Tell me about those shoes." And he said, "Well, I'm speaking at a conference in Melbourne, an international conference. And so if you're going to speak at an international conference, you probably should have great shoes." It was a neuroscience/brain surgery conference. So it's head doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, neuroscientists, brain surgeons from all around the world were getting together in Melbourne. And he was one of the keynote speakers for this conference. And I said, "So can I ask, what are you talking about? What's your keynote address going to be about? What's your chat going to be about?" And he said, I'm hesitant to tell you, as I am hesitant to do my talk, because I'll be sharing information with the best psychologists, psychiatrists, neuroscientists and brain surgeons in the world that they probably won't believe me. But I have to deliver this information because for me it has become very obvious. And I said, now I'm really excited. So I said, "Tell me about that." So this brain surgeon shared with me that he was going to share with the top head doctors in the world that we have to stop telling people that they can't walk again. People that have had spinal injuries, people that have had broken backs or broken necks. He said we have to stop telling people, as a doctor, as their medical professional, we have to stop telling them that they won't be able to walk again. He said the reason for that is too many of our own patients are proving us wrong. He said, "I can't explain it medically, but there's so many of my patients where I thought they would never walk again or they would never be able to use their limbs again, and they have walked out of the hospital, or 6 months later they've walked back into the hospital." Because he said, we don't understand the power of the brain. If you've decided that you are going to do something and you put your whole heart and soul into it and you put your brain power into it, he said, we don't understand. We don't understand how powerful the brain is. I don't either. I'm no brain scientist, and I'm certainly no psychologist or endocrinologist or cardiologist. What I do know is that having a healthy, fit, strong body is a really awesome feeling. And I will share with you personally that having a healthy, fit, strong body and a strong immune system, not only have I not been sick, I can't remember the last time I was sick. When I am sick, I appreciate it because it makes me realize I need to be less stressed, drink more water, have a healthier eating plan and get fitter and stronger. I get that. So I understand when I'm sick, I need to do something different because there was a reason that I got sick. But I haven't been sick for a very, very long time. I can't remember the last time. It's going to be probably 15 years since I've been sick, probably longer since I've been to the doctor. I love being an old lady and being really healthy, really fit and really strong. And I'm sharing this with you because I don't know what the connection is. Is it my brain that's positive? Is it my body that's really fit and strong? Is it a combination of all of those things? What I do know is that we don't understand brain chemistry. We don't understand the power of dopamine, serotonin, brain-derived neurotropic factor, oxytocin, endorphins, norepinephrine, adrenaline, all the things, those neurotransmitters that the part of the endocrine system that makes our body something that fires at full capacity. I don't think even the endocrinologists can't really explain how all of that works. But what I do know is that being healthy, fit and strong feels good now. I'm excited about the future. I've seen people over 100 that are living with great quality of life. And I would hate to think that if somebody told you that you have to be sick or you're going to die, I've got this horrible disease, why would you believe them? Why would you take on board something that somebody else tells you? Be in the Guinness Book of World Records for the fastest recovering person from that injury or from that surgery or from that disease. Be the longest living person who's been diagnosed with a terminal illness. And just maybe be reminded that life is a terminal illness. We're all going to die. But isn't it more important to focus on how we're going to live? And is it possible that if we're healthy, fit and strong, we're going to live with power and passion and enthusiasm every single day with less likelihood of any of those horrible things affecting who we are now? Wouldn't that be awesome? Woohoo!